I just got the news that Charlie Kirk passed away. That was a man of God.
I don't believe anyone should be shot, and not this guy either. But let's remember who the f*** this guy was.
You mother animals!
A career race hustler. You may have freedom of speech, but there is no freedom of consequence.
There are no real protections from people attacking you.
A young man who's never hurted anyone.
I mean, I wonder what could have inspired someone to do something like this. Could it have been his bigotry against the LGBTQ community? His racism? Oh no, his constant stream of harmful, misleading trash and anti-woman nonsense. And as for empathy, didn't he also say that he thinks empathy is the new age term that does a lot of damage? I don't condone violence of any kind, but Charlie did, and he made that clear that he was okay with it. And I sure as hell don't have empathy for someone who openly admits that he doesn't have empathy for anyone else, and I'm pretty okay with that. Now, as for you, did you have the same outrage and anger on January 6th? Or when the vast majority of mass unalivers are cis straight men? Or when Republican extremists pew-pew churches, schools, and Walmarts? Didn't think so. Where was your outrage then? Oh, that's right. You people are only upset when it affects you personally. Hypocrisy looks good on you, sis. Thoughts and prayers.
Because you people can't handle your emotions. This is what you fucking do. Other than debate and share ideas, you think it's best just to fucking shoot them. Absolutely no words to describe the level of sadness from what just happened. Because Charlie Kirk stood up for free speech. The Democratic Party and the liberal media need to be labeled as domestic terrorists, because that is exactly what the fuck they are. With their rhetoric and everything that they've been doing for the last 10 years towards conservatives, they knew exactly what was going to happen. They knew this shit was going to happen. They were looking forward to this. I hope you guys know that you just lost every election from here on out. There is no coming back from this.
People are feeling a sense of euphoria, and people are feeling a sense of relief that it happened. But I think it's really important that, and I keep saying this, that we quell this with a sense of stoic realism, and that this event has changed our political landscape, not for the better. Personal feelings towards him, even you wishing this on him a month ago, yesterday, 3 hours ago. Actualization of the event is the issue. It's not wrong for you to hate his guts. It's wrong for you not to defend his rights.
It's me mad. I'm so mad that this happened in our backyard. It's an embarrassment. Now, I gotta tell you, I used to be in Congress. I represented this area. We're better than this. I want his wife and the country to know that the last question he took, the last thing he talked about to people in Utah, thousands of people that wanted to come hear him, is that his message was one of love, of Jesus Christ, of his belief in prayer, and he talked about that from his heart, and you could feel it. And he's done that multiple times before.
Jesus defeated death so you can live. Definitely a soldier on the front line, definitely a brother in the faith, somebody I can definitely say will never be forgotten. Somebody who wanted nothing more than to bring morality back into reality. Pray for his family, his wife, his children. It's a heavy day in the world right now, but I truly believe that Charlie is with the Lord.
Let me just remind you that this is not just some made up grief over some influencer on the internet for views. Charlie Kirk was a man of God. He was my brother in Christ, and not to mention we watched him be taken from this earth so gruesomely from our telephones.
I find it so ironic that Charlie Kirk was shot at an all-white event. Because if it was a lot of black people in the crowd, it would have never happened. Because their security measures would have been top tier. They would have never allowed nobody in there with a weapon. See, but when it comes to all white events, they're so lenient on those security measurements because they act like white people are not violent. This is the result you get when you go on tours rage baiting. You just run around the world rage baiting people in real time. When you're supposed to be some kind of political figure, some kind of public figure, and you run around rage baiting, you say racist things, you act like you're untouchable, and then this happens to you. This is what people are going to mostly remember about you. You be creating these looks and these ideas about who people are, and you want to speak about gangs and mass shootings and all that, and one of your own people did it to you. because you have something to say about anybody because you're doing it for the views.
Let's play this clip of Amanda Seales real quick, because this was the most, to me, this is the one that ticked me off the most. Roll the clip.
For someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up shit.
I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made up new age term that does a lot of damage, but
He also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe. So then how do you reduce? Very simple. People say, oh, Charlie, how do you stop school shootings? I don't know. How did we stop shootings at base?
If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white on white violence, he died? Damn, B.
But the thing is that Amanda Seales, she can mock Charlie. It don't change the fact that I believe Charlie went to heaven. Charlie was a good man. Charlie, out of this mess, he gone on with Jesus. He having a good time up there with Jesus. No more pain, no more suffering. Charlie up there enjoying his eternity. So these idiots talking about him have zero weight.
He presented a childish, simplistic cartoon portrait of America that only a young boy could ever believe in. He presented an America without complexity, without guilt, without the burden of their terrible history. Well, that's a seductive product. And America has always been an eager market for that sort of a product.
He said a lot of shit. I don't think he should have been killed for it. But I don't think we need a national day of mourning. What about...
Charlie Kirk was shot by somebody that definitely knew what they were doing. That was a military grade shot. The precision on that shot, especially with how low that tent was immaculate. I hate to say it like that, but at the same time, from so many yards, that was at least 200 yards away. And did you notice how windy it was? To fire such a precise shot at 200 or so yards away in those weather conditions, and to directly be able to hit Charlie in his carotid artery. I mean, literally, you saw it. I'm telling you right now, he probably didn't even realize it. Like, it's not even about being hit in the neck. That shot had one and only one intention. I mean, as soon as I saw the posturing, which I think is called decorticate posturing, I knew it was over in seconds. I mean, you could tell from the velocity of the round and how much force they had on impact. I mean, did you see the shockwave?
I just got the news that Charlie Kirk passed away, and I don't care what your political party is. I don't care what you believe in. That was a man of God.
Yeah, this is so performative. Why do you guys do this kind of stuff? Why are you centering yourself in someone else's tragedy? Also, were you crying like this for anyone else's death this year? For children who lost their lives just going to school? People who lost their lives going to work, going to the grocery store? Were you crying like this? Or were you just only making this video because you get a bunch of Republican sympathy? This is really embarrassing. And this is why a lot of people have a problem with this, because you guys don't speak out and cry when children pass. You don't speak out and cry. Innocent people are taken from this earth by police officers. You're sitting here and crying over this man that you don't even know. There's really nothing wrong with crying, don't get me wrong. But to sit here, whip out your phone, and cry over this man like that is crazy. I really don't get you guys. And I don't ever want to get you guys.
There's a lot of people who are hurt over Charlie Kirk's death. Let's look at it this way. Let's say he was a bad guy. Let's just pretend he was a bad guy. The way he was killed is still ridiculous. Okay, now that was if he was a bad guy. The guy wasn't a bad guy. He was just a brutally honest person that a lot of people just didn't agree with. But he's talking about uplifting the kingdom. What y'all think y'all gonna do at the day of judgment when the Lord is telling you all your guilt? You think you're gonna be able to do something to Jesus? No. So yeah, you can, as the word of God talk about, you can destroy this physical body. The word tells us though, what the Lord tells us, don't fear the one, and this is paraphrased, the one who can destroy just the body, but fear the one who can destroy both the body and the spirit. And that's the Lord.
I was a man of God. I didn't even get a chance to pray or anything.
You're Don Lemon.
Yes, how are you?
Hi, I'm Alex.
Nice to meet you.
We're from Sweden.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Did you hear what happened to Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, we heard about it.
And what do you think?
Well, I mean, we're European, so we don't really agree with that type of politic. But I mean,
he's a father of two.
His husband, I mean,
it's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy.
Yeah, it's a tragedy either way. But even if you don't agree with what his opinions are, which I don't, I mean, it's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy.
Yeah,
Of course.
but that's very sad, of course. No matter what you think.
The reason why Christians and liberals can condemn murder and call for the collective mourning of a bigot is because it's the one place where American indoctrination and Christian ideology align perfectly, right? American indoctrination teaches us to value individual liberties above most things. And the way that Christianity is taught in America is mainly a passive acceptance of the sinners, which in practice often allows the tolerance of the sin, right?
If you are out here right now celebrating the loss of someone's life, you are absolutely the problem. You are disgusting. The amount of hate in this world just it pisses me off. There is no sense in whether you're right, left, green, purple. It does not matter. We are all people. There is a wife that had to go and tell her young children, that their father doesn't get to come home because of the amount of hate and disgust in this world. There's a wife that has to go to bed tonight mourning the loss of her husband. There are parents that have to go to bed mourning the loss of their son. And if all that excites you, you are more than disgusting. I have sat over here all night and all day feeling the loss of someone I've never met in my entire life. Hurting for the family, for the friends. And you want to celebrate?
And then even the people who are saying, I don't condone anyone being killed, but. No but. The but, that but, is your justification for violence. It's the same thing they used when all the protests and people actually died during the George Floyd things. People were killed and businesses destroyed, all because violence is the voice of the unheard. No, that was just hurt people hurting people.
We see these images of black and brown death all the time, and sure, we're a little sad. We say this is a tragedy, right? But this type of guttural societal shift in response doesn't happen because we're used to seeing black and brown death. A white man, we haven't seen it like that. That's why you're crying on lives. That's why you're emphasizing humanity so much right now, because you've had the privilege of being able to see the humanity in someone like him, in your own families, in your own communities, church groups, schools. You haven't had to see someone like him be an enemy. You've had the privilege in being able to choose. You get to choose when someone who looks like you, your brother, your sister, your great-great-grandfathers is an enemy. And you have to make that loud and clear and make it known. Otherwise, you just blend in. Which is what they're saying about the shooter, right? He just blended in to that crowd. The rest of us, pure existence. Already enemy before we're even consciously aware of it. The barbarism of the oppressor then strips you of your own humanity. You can read about that.
What's the difference between, obviously it's more differences. Obviously they've had different backgrounds, but you understand what I'm saying. The only difference between Charlie Kirk and Malcolm X or Martin Luther King is Charlie Kirk was Caucasian.
Martin Luther King Jr. said it best. An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That means if it could happen to Charlie Kirk, it could happen to you and or somebody else that you love or somebody else whose opinions you agree with. And if you applaud this and you condone this, then that means you would have to applaud and condone it if somebody turned around and did it to somebody that you love.
Again, this man publicly, he made disparaging remarks about MLK, an activist and preacher. Again, he didn't see him as a brother in Christ. He didn't care about that legacy. But y'all want to stand on that moral high ground because y'all are so good and so righteous, right?
You see, I've never given feedback to a community that I wasn't a part of on how they should be acting or speaking. I didn't ignore systemic norms and systems that were designed by a specific set of people in order to give them a leg up while also keeping others down. I just want to be very clear because I know the people that don't read books can confuse the two things. It's just the internet. It's not real life. That's a dangerous sport now.
And if you look at the comment section on this video, it will make you so upset and it'll make you dislike a certain group of people.
Now some of you are out here cheering about what happened. Well, you're fools. Why, when you celebrate, all you do is elevate and strengthen their narrative. Charlie Kirk was not an outlier. He was a product. He was the logical output of a system that's designed to generate exactly what he was. He sold a fantasy.
All the posts that I'm seeing, it makes me really sad for America.
Regardless of what happened to Charlie, this should be a prime example of how much that we have truly divided ourselves in this country. Why are we not taking notes from Nepal? Why are we not taking notes from Indonesia? And do you know how contradicting it is to cheer for somebody's death? Especially when you chose to cheer for somebody else's death? Can we stop convincing our egos that we're not just some pawns that are being used in this chess game of deception? Or do you like living in that comfortable little privileged reality of where you assume that you have it all figured out? I can't stand how many people still watch mainstream news networks. Like what?
It's so interesting to me how when certain people lose their lives in this country, the first thing that the media starts to do is show us positive pictures of them and their family and remind us that they have a family. But you know who else had a family? This teacher and this student who lost their lives to gun violence last year in a school shooting in Wisconsin. Because people like Charlie Kirk felt like it was worth the risk for people to still be able to bear arms in this country. George Floyd also had a family, and Charlie Kirk did not care about him or his family, nor were people plastering the internet with images of him and his family. Instead, this is what people like Charlie Kirk had to say about George Floyd.
Died largely because of a drug overdose.
But he had his knee on his neck. And we all saw the video.
But the knee on the neck is actually an approved police technique that police departments taught Derek Chauvin to use. Do you know that George Floyd was saying, "I couldn't breathe," well before that restraining technique? And
so why'd they use the technique if he already couldn't breathe?
Well, because he was actually resisting arrest, and they had to restrain him. And they restrained him in a way that they were taught to do, which is the knee on the neck technique.
Okay, so when does the technique end? Like when they die? Like he said he couldn't breathe.
No, I mean the technique ends when the individual stops resisting arrest.
They done sat up there and unalive Master Son. I'm heard about that one. They done sat up there and unalive Charlie Kirk. That was one of Master's best sons. He always stood up for what's right. See, y'all gotta understand here. Master help us. Master take care of us. Master love us. You can't sit up there and celebrate nobody's death.
Charlie Kirk is saying that people should be sacrificed for the Second Amendment. I don't know how people are so stupid that claim that they want reparations and claim that black people were done wrong in this country and don't understand the value of personal self-defense against the government. The same people who cried about how the government did them wrong, and now that we have a right to have firearms, the government can't do you wrong like that no more. It's not a gun thing. And everybody talking about it's a gun thing, that's talking about it's a gun thing is just completely stupid. We live in America. You have the right and freedom to keep and bear arms. There's hundreds of millions of guns out here. And reasonable, rational people aren't using guns to do harm against people. It's only nut jobs that are doing it. It's only nutty people.
You don't need a bullet, you need a brain. You need a mind that can't be manipulated. You need an inflammable heart. A heart that can stay calm, cool, and collected when everything around you is in flames. That's what you need.
I bet you when we find out with this person that took Charlie Kirk's life, I bet you we're going to find out this person probably should have never had a gun. This person had clear warning signs that they were going to do something like this. I mean, you go down the list.
Man, they shot Charlie Kirk. They shot him on a campus. Living in crazy times, man. I've been to a university when Charlie Kirk was there. That man's security, impeccable. You see what I'm saying? So if they got to him, we're going to wait on these details to come out. But
seeing people laugh and say he deserved it, all because of his different, beliefs. This is America. You have freedom of speech here. You have freedom of religion. You have the right to believe whatever you want to and to have your opinions, whether it's BLM or LGBT or Christian conservative views, anti-abortion. You are allowed to think how you want without hurting people. That's what you don't have the right to do, is to hurt others because of what you believe.
So why is it that people think that we shouldn't talk about all the bad that he's done in the world and all of the harmful things he said about marginalized groups? simply because he has a family. Yes, I'm sure his family is watching, as are all the other families who are a part of marginalized groups or who have been impacted by gun violence. But the difference here is, now that he lost his life, they want to feed us positive images of him and force people to stop talking about the negative that he's done in the world. And that's just not how life works.
I can't hear one more person in this country say, this is not who we are. This is exactly who we are. What do you mean this is not who we are? Who is it? Is it another country impersonating us?
Well, as an American, a lot of people are going to be conditioned to see free speech as the ultimate American right. Unchallengeable, unchangeable, no matter how hateful or how much vitriol the person is spewing. And when you align that with Christian ideology, that's going to indoctrinate people to love their neighbor, no matter how hateful or evil the person is, which is what allows them to passively allow the sin and the hatred to continue, right? Because they are not the punisher, God is. So they passively wait for God to come along and fix the problem. Now, this isn't me saying that murder is right and we should go around murdering people. No.
It's so true. This world is so evil.
This is not white versus black. This is not left versus right. This is good versus evil. And what happened to him was evil, and people are laughing at it.
But this is why Christians and liberals feel so strongly about speaking out against murder, but take 0 steps towards eliminating systemic evil and corruption. Paralyzed citizens, right? Understanding the language of liberty, but never fully able to practice it. And this is what Dr. King was warning about when he talked about the white moderate. The biggest threat to justice wasn't the bigot, no, but those who prioritized order over justice. Those who agreed with the goal, but condemned the methods necessary to achieve it.
Moral high ground y'all want to stand on so bad, it doesn't make sense. That man didn't like you. He did not see you as his brother or sister in Christ. In fact, nothing about the way he lived his life exemplified Christ-like behavior. Nothing about it exemplified Christ-like behavior. He spewed hatred. A lot of it.
Today was definitely your sad day because, of course, we lost you, a true legend, and a hero to many. Your legacies and your life will not be forgotten. It will never be forgotten. But it's also a happy day, especially as Christians, because we know that now you're in heaven, you're rejoicing, you're celebrating, you're dancing, you're singing with the angels and in the presence of the Most High God. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Heaven definitely gained a big one.
I see why people don't take y'all seriously. Y'all are acting like clowns. It's a circus, and y'all are the clowns, jokesters. You're the jester. You're the court jester.
They didn't silence Charlie Kirk. They amplified Charlie Kirk. The power structure never cared about that boy. They used him, and he's more useful to them now than he was the day before.
Charlie Kirk, first of all, wasn't a racist. Unless you're completely stupid, you would know that. When Charlie Kirk talk about empathy, he's talking about weaponized empathy, which means that people are weaponizing the word empathy now, because empathy doesn't mean what it used to mean.
Massa ain't said nothing wrong. Massa was gonna free us till y'all said something. That be y'all folks' problem. Y'all ain't got no reverend. Y'all ain't got no reverend for Massa. But I's tell you what, I's gonna stand on all 12 feet for Massa. I's gonna appreciate Massa. I's gonna revolt about Massa.
Charlie Kirk's death has led me to an uncomfortable conversation that I want to facilitate. To my white brothers and sisters, how would you hope your minority friends respond to the celebration of Charlie Kirk's life when he has very publicly said things like this? Refer to Asian individuals by the C word, a word too violent for me to even utter. Refer to Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson of the Supreme Court, both Harvard graduates, as not having the brain processing power to be taken seriously. Suggested that if seeing a black pilot, would assume they were a DEI hire. To my white brothers and sisters, I'm genuinely asking, how would you like your minority friends to respond to the celebration of his life? Not to his death, but to the celebration of his life.
This is exactly who we are. The racism, the violence, the sexism, all of the isms that keep us divided, which is one of the reasons why I never call this the United States of America, because we aren't united. You want to know who we really are? Through all of the things that everyone is experiencing after the killing of Charlie Kirk. We don't know yet because they haven't caught the person. I can tell you probably safely who it wasn't, because this took place in Utah. So I'm telling you right now, it is probably not a black person and certainly not a gang member, which is exactly what Charlie Kirk was talking about when he got shot, talking about gang violence.
So there are a lot of people on my social media feed that aren't real happy about my Charlie Kirk jokes. And I get it. So I just want to tell you guys, you better buckle the fuck up, because they're about to get a lot worse and a lot fucking darker.
Yeah, I'm probably going to lose some followers over this, and that's okay. Because if you don't agree with me, then I really don't want any part of that. If you can sit on social media and celebrate the death of a husband, of a father, for standing up for what he believed in, that's fucking disgusting. What does that say about you, that you're happy that someone lost their life? I personally don't give a shit what your political views are. But just being happy that someone lost their life.
And those of us of our kin who are mourning him, yeah, we know that's some respectability bullshit. You know, respectability towards Massa. But you are related to Massa. You have a connection to Massa. You and Massa share a similar humanity, so it's easy for you to see the humanity of Massa. You're actually genetically predisposed to see the humanity in someone like him and struggle to see it in us, because, you know, y'all ate us. They ate us. They hosted lynching parties and picnics. They made us move off the sidewalk when we approached them. All of that affected us in our genetics. Oh, well, you know, our ability to have empathy and see humanity in folks who are our enemy, that got beat out of us. Yeah, we can't trust y'all with our empathy and our humanity.
I'm sorry, the man was 31 years old. He had 2 kids. He had a wife. He had a family. Just like everybody else who has an opinion. But just because he has a platform, he very well influences a lot of people. They was like, we gotta do something about that. We gotta handle that.
Influence is the capacity to have an effect on character, development, or behavior. I.e., you weren't going to buy that skincare product or try that skincare product until you were influenced to do so by a content creator, right? So when a content creator has influence over a lot of people and spews hate speech, that means they don't have to do or say anything, because the people that follow them will do or say it for them. Let me give you an example. Charlie Kirk was murdered around white people at a predominantly white university in a predominantly white state. Black people had nothing to do with this murder, yet HBCUs are being threatened because of some of the hate speech that he spewed while he was alive. That's what his influence did.
For all of you that are like, he was a husband and a father. Who gives a fuck? Nazis were husbands and fathers. Being a husband and a father doesn't magically make you a fucking good person. It just means somebody was dumb enough to fucking marry you and let you put a kid in them. That's all that means. Like, being a husband and a father doesn't negate you from being a fucking terrible human being.
This is what happens when you rage bait in real time. He will talk bad about anybody. He'll put anybody down. He wanted to be so in the club. He wanted to fit in so bad. He wanted that white power so bad. He really wanted to be promoted to that white power. Yeah. And that's who took him out. That's so crazy.
Hi, and thanks for watching. As you can see, the country is very divided and hurting over this horrible event. Very sad to see. Thoughts and prayers to everyone. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? I believe everyone has a right to their opinion. Keep watching, there are
What
more opinions to
are you
hear.
crying for? What's with the hypocrisy and your fake outrage and all those alligator tears that you're certainly not shedding for all of the children that have passed away due to propaganda of the Second Amendment that Charlie pushed? He was okay with them passing away as long as you and him got to keep your guns. You claim that he's a good man. You claim that he had a family. So did all of those children. So did all of those children that had to hide under the bodies of their friends to try to stay alive, that hid in closets, that had to do shooter drills in order for people like you and Charlie to keep your guns. You're shedding your fake, and I know they're fake, tears over a hateful, bigoted, racist man. He was not a good man to most people in the United States.
Some black Christians are truly insufferable. The way that y'all are pulling out biblical scripture and calling this man a brother in Christ, based on the disparaging remarks that he has made against black people, immigrants, and women, he did not see a lot of y'all as brothers or sisters in Christ. He did not like y'all, and he thought that you were beneath him in the societal totem pole. You were not on the same level as him, even as a Christian. You were beneath him.
To be honest with everybody, I never knew anything about Charlie Kirk, so that's why when I was hearing about him being shot, I didn't speak on it or anything like that because I felt like I wouldn't know much to be able to offer to the situation. But as I've been seeing around, many of people saying a bunch of disrespectful and disgusting things about this man after he done lost his life, all because it seems that he had his own opinions and his own mind, and just because y'all disagree with him, people feel like it's okay that this happened to this man. And not only that, what really got me to do this video is when I heard that his wife and his child was there to see this man be shot. You didn't have to like him. You didn't have to agree with him. Hell, you didn't even have to know him. But to know that a wife and a child had to watch him be unalived in front of them is absolutely heartbreaking, and your heart should break because of that, because it's not fair and it's not right. So as humans here in America, how much this division has really gotten to people around our country, and how much we truly need to start standing for each other, coming together with each other, regardless of left, right, up, down, religion, political views, sexual preference, orientation, skin color, it does not matter.
But didn't deliver justice. If you think they did, he didn't. He delivered to the power structure an even more enhanced weapon. He made a mediocre but dangerous and polarizing figure, Charlie Kirk, into now an impeachable icon for the very fan base that he most likely despises. And he made criticism of Charlie Kirk's ideas. Now it's disrespect for the dead. This is not resistance. This is a gift. This is a gift to the very security state that he probably thought he was attacking.
This is a man that said members of the LGBTQ community should be stoned to death, like it says in the big book of mythology. He also said that he would force his 10-year-old daughter, if she was raped, to make her have that rapist baby. He was a man that pushed white supremacist ideology and hate against every single community that wasn't white and straight. Just be so for real, sis. Be so for real and stop your fake tears.
As I've been trying my best to hold back tears as I'm doing this video, it's truly sad how humans are behaving towards each other. Because if humans don't start to change the way that we treat each other and view each other now, things are only going to get worse. And each of us are raising younger generations in this world that's going to grow up, and they're going to become the adults. And how would things be then?
Good Lord, the bud don't like what y'all doing. Good Lord, the bud don't like how y'all talking about Master Son this way. Y'all gonna get what y'all deserve. This ain't right. It ain't.
For those people who be spreading the truth, standing on the truth, I pray for y'all. I hope y'all pray for me, because it's gonna get worse before it's gonna get better. It's gonna get worse. So, I pray for all my people out here who spread the gospel, who spread truth. Just be careful, man, because these people don't want to hear the gospel. They reject it. They reject it. And obviously you can't be saying the right stuff, or obviously you see what happens.
Because the machine is already spinning. The machine, that same machine that Charlie Kirk served so faithfully. They're spinning the narrative now. They're going to label him as a martyr for free speech. A a victim of left-wing extremism.
Mind you, this shit happens on 9/11. This shit happens the day the Twin Tower got destroyed. If that's not a coincidence, I don't know what is. It's crazy. In this century, in this year, in 2025, people still cannot voice their opinion. And if they do, clearly I see what happens.
Their two indoctrinations are in constant conflict with one another. American indoctrination really highlights two things: the right to individual liberties, the right to overthrow a corrupt government, right? You hear people saying we have the right to overthrow our corrupt government all the time. The real question is, why haven't we done that? The answer to that question is Christian indoctrination. Christian indoctrination teaches people to wait passively for God to come and save us, right? It teaches people that God is the one who's supposed to come and change things, not individuals. You are supposed to wait silently in prayer and pray things change. So these two ideologies are constantly at battle.
So he wasn't a gang member, not a black affiliated gang member. And despite all of that, there are HBCUs that are getting death threats, in particular in Virginia and Alabama. This is exactly who we are, America. Black people get demonized and villainized to the degree that we get blamed for the things that we don't even have a hand in. This is exactly who we are.
Either way, there was sadly no coming out of this. I would never wish this on anybody. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But what I find suspicious is how quickly a certain somebody made an announcement about it. Not just that, but did anybody look at his hands and his mouth movements while he was making this announcement? It's not actually that hard to analyze it with ChatGPT or other AI models. I mean, a couple of days ago, Charlie Kirk had a special little interview with Ben Shapiro. I'm sure everybody's aware of it by now. And I didn't think that he would actually do it, but he did it. He brought up a lot of very, let's just say, sensitive topics. You should know what's going to happen if you have a platform that big. My only question is, why didn't you do that earlier?
I don't know about y'all, but I'm absolutely disgusted behind what happened today. The assassination of an innocent man who was just standing up for what he believed in. And he was unalive today because of what he believed in. Charlie Kirk believed in the truth. Now, I'm not saying that I'm in agreement with everything that he was saying, but most of the stuff, it all made sense. It all was facts. Because a lot of stuff that he say, you can look it up and you can find out the truth behind whatever this man is saying.
That just because you're a person of color and you side with conservative white people does not make them like you anymore. As someone who grew up in a conservative white area, I can tell you pretty confidently that there are only 4 reasons that most white people have a friend of color. Number 1 is so that they can say that they aren't racist, and they can tokenize you and say that you're one of the good ones while also giving themselves some sort of social credit. Number 2, they like to have people around that they feel that they are smarter or better than in some way. They almost see their friends of color as sort of sidekicks when they're the main character. I think it's disrespectful to put somebody into that role and not recognize their own individuality. Number 3, they keep you around to make fun of you or say things behind your back. And again, the whole tokenizing look.
Do you know the difference between an opinion and hate speech? A lot of people don't. An opinion is a view or a judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on facts or knowledge. I hate Sprite. Sprite tastes nasty to me. Hate speech is abusive or threatening speech that expresses prejudice against religion, sexual orientation, ethnicity, i.e., black people that drink Sprite should be treated unfairly and unjust. They should be beaten because I don't like Sprite and I don't like black people. That is an example of hate speech. So no, an opinion and hate speech are not the same.
We are approaching a societal norm of not being able to tell people what you believe in or become too influential at the threat of being unalived. That's the issue. Not people not caring that he's gone. It's the violence that will ensue. Has set a political precedent of unaliving influential pundits. That's what cares that people hate him. Who cares? Who cares that people were wishing for this to happen? Who cares? It has happened. It has happened, and now all of our rights are at stake.
I just got the news that Charlie Kirk passed away, and I don't care what your political party is, I don't care what you believe in, that was a man of God, and y'all took his life. I didn't even get a chance to pray or anything.
Wait, bro. I understand, you feel bad somebody died, all that, but you crying out, you don't even know this man. You don't know this man, for real? It got me with you like he was a man of God. How do you know, though? How do you truly know? Throughout history, people say they're a man of God, they're a man of religion, or this or this or this, but the things that they did will show otherwise. Not saying Charlie's done crazy things and all that, I'm just saying. There was a movie called Killer of the Flower Moon with Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Robert De Niro was like the head guy. They came across some Indians, some native people or whatever. Robert De Niro's character, he's playing like he's just this good, wholesome guy, but the whole time he's destroying the native land and all this stuff behind their back.
Because I thought we had freedom of speech in America, but looking at Charlie Kirk, I beg to differ. Just because he stated his opinion, and I'm not saying I agreed with every single one, but people are allowed to believe in what they think is correct and accurate. He was just about to open up and say how he does not support Israel anymore 2 days ago. And look what happened now. I don't know what this country has come to. Even on TikTok, there's no freedom of speech. Is that not in our amendments?
Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk, man. That low-key got me fired up wanting to make political commentary. It's crazy. You see the left constantly condone this behavior. First, the CEO with the insurance, Charlie Kirk, this transgender shooting at the Catholic school. It's crazy, man. Stand on the word.
Oh, you want people to have empathy and sympathy and mourn? Oh, well, let's talk about the privilege of that. The privilege of being able to have empathy and sympathy and mourning in a world where you're constantly in enemy territory. The privilege in being able to see the humanity in your in your enemy, in your oppressor. And that's if they are your enemy. White folks, leftists and liberals, I'm talking to you. Let's get into why you have the empathy and the mourning for someone like Charlie Kirk. We know why the white conservatives are, but let's talk about the epigenetic trauma of white people. Why is it so easy for you to mourn someone like Charlie Kirk? Well, because he looks like your dads, your brothers, your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers, your slave-owning ancestors. And so what you're struggling with is realizing that you have to mourn your own humanity. You're realizing that you have to draw a line in the sand, that damn, the humanity you want to be able to have and the empathy you want to be able to have, they're forcing you to have to reconcile that with that. And you're mourning that you're going to have to put that to the side. And you don't know what to do with that, but the rest of us have already had to, because our lives actually depended on it. And you're realizing for the first time, some of you, yours are too.
So when I got the news today from my brother during my appointments that you were murdered, my day was messed up. My day was messed up. But Charlie, you fulfilled your purpose here on earth, and that's why God said, my son, it's time to come home. It's time to come home. And it must be amazing seeing the gates of heaven and hearing God say, well done, my good and faithful servant. And then you walk through that gate and you see how beautiful heaven is. And I know we here on earth as Christians always talk about how beautiful it is in heaven.
They done hurt Massa. When you hurt Massa and you hurt Massa people, you hurt me. Because I live in highs. I live in the slave highs. And we love Massa over here.
So of course there's gonna be people who be, oh my God, he was this amazing man, simply because of he believed in the same things y'all believed in or whatever. Ain't no difference between Taylor Swift and her fans because y'all love her music. She's so inspiring to y'all, right? It was like a video I did where this girl's crying because Taylor Swift got engaged. Really? I'm not saying she don't got the right. She got the right to do whatever.
And you fucking sick, demented people that are on here celebrating this, you need fucking help. And in the end, just remember who fired the first shot. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Sadly, you're lost, but you will never be forgotten.
An American Christian can easily condemn murder above anything else. Sit idly by and watch corruption happen. This is why religion is so dangerous, right? Not necessarily because of the book and the religion itself, but because of the way that it is taught. These indoctrinations keep us trapped as American citizens. Is free speech important?
Sure, but should we prioritize it over the dignity and the safety of a marginalized groups? No, absolutely not. Is having faith a good thing? Yes. Does that mean that we should wait for God to come along and save us? No. Maybe the more moral thing, the more godly thing would be is to use your voice, your body for life.
There is an agreement that we have within society that I will not infringe upon your rights and you will not infringe upon mine, and I will enforce your rights in exchange for me enforcing your rights, you enforce my rights. And if I don't like what you're doing with your rights, the agreement is that I enforce them regardless, because if I stop enforcing your rights because I don't like it, now I have nothing to justify enforcing my rights.
And it's funny because you motherfuckers were real quiet when Charlie Kirk was telling the transgender community that they had no right to exist. I didn't hear a single one of you say, hey, Charlie, you know, some of those transgender individuals might be husbands and fathers. They might be somebody's brother or cousin or nephew or best friend. You guys were mysteriously fucking quiet then. Like, you guys didn't give a shit who was a husband or a father then. So, no, I don't give a fuck who's a husband or a father now.
And the Holy Spirit within you is grieving because this was a man that was unashamed, that spread the word. He was a voice of truth in a society of cowards, the voice of truth in a society of lies.
Unless a seed dies and is planted in the ground, it cannot spring forth. Charlie planted many seeds. Through his death, it will be multiplied and thousands will come to Christ.
American Christianity is the single most dangerous thing to our civil liberties because it conditions us to tolerate corruption and evil. Got half of the country fighting for guns, no matter how much evil those guns are contributing, because that's an American right. We're brainwashed to view the American rights just as important as the 10 Commandments in the Bible.
So if you, like me, literally cannot shake this feeling that I've had for the last 24 hours, if you have literally been crying over a man that you have never met, please do not let anyone make you feel ashamed for that. He is your brother in Christ, and he fought for the truth and the word until his very dying breath.
And now God is raising up a generation to come up. Now this is going to spark a generation of no nonsense, a generation that will bring a revival, because we see he would not have been taken out if he wasn't speaking truth, if he wasn't a threat. And God had to allow it.
A career race hustler whose literal last words were gang violence before being shot in the neck by a white person.
This passive interpretation of the Bible teaches Americans to obey the government no matter how evil it is, and to wait for God to come and save us. And when you align those two things, we are stuck at an impasse.
And the way what my mother said is so true. My mama sent me this TikTok and I started scrolling the comments, and the amount of people in the comments saying, I haven't read my Bible since I was 11. I'm reading my Bible today. I've never been to church, but I'm going. I don't know God, but I'm going to know him. So, I'm sorry if you don't understand.
But let's remember who the fuck this guy was, huh? Homosexuals should be shot, he said, because they're abomination. The way to fix homelessness is to lock them all up. Black people don't have brain processing power, so if he gets on a flight with a black pilot, he's nervous. Women shouldn't be allowed to vote.
When it comes down to it, the reality of all this is that the same exact motherfucking thing can happen to you. You think you have freedom? Just wait and see what this incident with Charlie Kirk does to every single one of you. Watch everything that you have to defend yourself slowly, not even slowly actually, disappear.
You think you Trump. He think he's Trump. See, Trump liked to rage bait. Trump liked to say whatever he want. Trump likes to talk bad about anybody. But he got Secret Service. He got people who will take a bullet for him. You don't. You do not. And it happened at an all-white event where you guys felt This is the MAGAs. This is my people. They got my back.
Everyone just forgot who he is? Someone's father. What are you talking about? Does that suddenly forego? The issue was not that he was someone's father. The issue wasn't even that he was a person. The issue is that this changes our political landscape and justifies unaliving people for their opinions, even when they are not elected officials with direct control over legislation.
Enemy is the society, it's the system, it's the power structure, it's the so-called civilization that creates boys like Charlie Kirk. I call him a boy because that's what he is to me.
He is a man of God. He believed in the role of women, biblical role of women. He believed in the biblical home.
Yeah, girl, I had to do some digging because, like I said, I did not know who this man was, and he did not sound like a good person.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
A lot of people are going to be saying happy Juneteenth. It should not be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work. Have a good day.
You're going to remove my appendix, and you're a black lesbian.
It's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect.
Empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage, but...
Yeah, that was just kind of the tip of the iceberg of the things that I found out that he said. But it sounds like he's just an inflammatory, antagonistic racist.
But this is what you should be concerned about. You should be concerned about the fact that our president views that man and everything that he stands for as a hero, as a martyr, if you will. You should be concerned that Charlie Kirk looked like he was hit by a sharpshooter. And it's funny that he really wanted to know who was on Epstein's list. You should be concerned about all the celebrities and affluent people moving out of the United States and the fact that other countries are having meetings without our president present. That should concern you, not whether or not we're crying over Kirk, okay? Tighten up.
You feel so grieved from Charlie Kirk's death. And it's not only because he was a great man of God, seemingly great man of God. He spread God's word, the gospel of Jesus Christ, with 10 toes down. He wasn't perfect, but he was unashamed. And that's what the Bible calls us to do.
What about him was Christ-like, y'all? How he lived his life? What about it exemplified the way Jesus Christ lived his life? And then some of y'all are trying to compare his death to that of Christ. Isn't that like blasphemous? And considering he didn't make it to his Jesus year, nothing about him is Christ-like.
I feel bad for Charlie's family, and I wouldn't want to say that you reap what you sow, but at the same exact time, to feel empathy, or to feel like I have to feel empathy for an individual that pushed out a narrative of so much forceful hate, degradation, division. I mean, honestly, I would even consider him to be the top advocate. That's how much influence that man had. At 31 years old, might I mention. Watch what's about to happen in all these big cities. See, if one way doesn't work, there's always going to be another way. And do you know why? Because there's two sides to the same exact coin. And I think Charlie, right in the midst of all these Mercury retrogrades, was finally coming to the realization that, wow, maybe I'm not on the right side. But majority of you are not prepared for what's coming next, especially in these big cities, especially in these big blue cities, might I mention. Why do you think a certain little special movie came out last year?
I know he's got a family. He was a husband. He was a dad. He was a brother. And they shot whoever did it, man. I don't care who did it. Whoever pulled that trigger, you got to pay one day.
Charlie Kirk had this to say about black people.
Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today. They were less murderous. There was less break-ins.
I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder. All prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crime. They commit more murders. They commit more arsons. They commit more kidnappings.
In fact, I even think that we should bring back, public executions on certain people. No, but think about it. I think that, and you guys should laugh, it should be public, it should be quick, it should be televised.
He had worse to say about people of different gender, sexual orientation, religion, and ethnicity. So no, he didn't just spew opinions. He didn't die because of a difference of opinions. And with that logic, then Hitler just had opinions. The difference is he had enough power and influence to make people carry out some of the most nasty, disgusting, heinous crimes known to man. With power and influence comes great responsibility. It also gives you the ability to use your words as weapons. So no, you don't get to police how the people that were targeted by this man and his following, threatened by this man and his following feel about his passing. Whether or not they want to feel rejoice or they feel relief, it's none of your concern.
At the end of the day, Charlie went home after he debated people to his family. Didn't hurt anyone, wasn't violent. He didn't even cuss at people, you know, like he just debated them. He let them talk. And no matter what you think or believe, this is America. You have the right to think how you want.
The disparaging remarks that this man has made about so many different marginalized communities, you were not to him a brother or sister in Christ. He wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire.
Now listen, y'all know that I ride for black people, especially black women, but y'all know that for anything, I ride for black people, okay? So I'm gonna start off by saying that. But what happened to Charlie Kirk, I don't support that. I don't support what happened to Charlie Kirk. You know who does support what happened to Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk support what happened to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk stood for the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment stood for Charlie. This is what he said was necessary in order to have the Second Amendment. Now, don't nobody now take what I just said and say that I wish that on them. No, I don't. I just wish that the things that people fight for, you know, and believe in, they live or die by.
Want a day of mourning, a national day of mourning for Charlie Kirk. So let me just say this. I don't believe anyone should be shot for their political beliefs or for any other reason. I have marched for safe gun laws my entire life. After every school shooting, every mass shooting, every church shooting, and the right wing says thoughts and prayers, or as Charlie Kirk said, that's the price we pay for keeping our guns.
Wishing for something to happen is not the same as it actually happening. Your thoughts are your First Amendment. Your actual actions are not. They're not your right. You don't get to just impose that onto other people. That's why we only prosecute actualized crime when you really do the thing and not a thought crime. Because you can still enforce the right for someone to think whatever they want to think. You can no longer enforce Charlie Kirk's rights. He doesn't have any anymore. It is irreversible.
Charlie Kirk. In 2023, he said, "You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and won't have a single gun death." I think it's worth to have cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have a Second Amendment to protect our God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. As a career race hustler, you have to understand there are consequences to your words. You may have freedom of speech, but there is no freedom of consequence.
Why are you posting about Charlie Kirk but not all the school shootings? I'll tell you why. First of all, anyone who committed any of the school shootings, mental health disorder. The person who shot Charlie Kirk, mental health disorder. The person who took their car and drove down the parade, just mowing down people, mental health disorder. The person on the train who took the knife and slit the throat of the white girl just for nothing, mental health disorder. They are all issues of mental health. And notice how each one of them used a different weapon, because it's not about the weapon. It's about the mental health behind it. And the guy who went to college campuses and opened up conversations to talk and have discourse and talk about facts and talk about opinions and then just leave. The person who was all about conversation and being open was, but the biggest thing of all is that I did not see when any of the school shootings have happened. I never, ever saw anyone cheer and celebrate. But what I've seen on social media is the most disgusting thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. And it shows how hurt people are, because only hurt people hurt people, and only hurt people want other people to be hurt. We have a mental health epidemic, and we have far too many people who do not have any emotional intelligence, because when they hear someone else say something that they don't agree with, it makes them feel rage, anger, sadness so much. Other words are, you're letting other people's words affect how you feel, and then it changes everything. And that's a problem. And the only way that a hurt person can heal is looking within. It's going to therapy. It's learning about emotional intelligence to understand your emotions so you don't let them get the best of you and make poor decisions. And the biggest reason, at least for me, that I posted, and I hate this about it, I am fearful that there will be retaliation. And if there is retaliation, we may as well just end the United States. It's gone. Bye. And I really, really hope that doesn't happen. I hope somehow, because of his spirituality and how much he was all about God, I just hope that maybe this moves more people in that direction. And I am not a religious person, but I feel that the lack of spirituality in people is also why all this is happening. People these days are just so much more about themselves and morals. What do morals matter? There's no heaven, there's no hell, there's no God, there's anything. So yeah, fuck that person. And that's what I think is too many people's attitudes today. I really try to post positive and uplifting things, but this has not been a positive couple days. And I really hope, for the sake of the United States and for humanity, that people learn to be able to have conversations without calling people racist, fascist, bigots whenever they say their opinion. No one deserves to die or be murdered in general, but especially not for just simply having a different opinion. I usually wrap by saying, be kind, you never know what someone's going through. But what I've realized, and this is a big Charlie Kirk thing, being kind doesn't always mean telling people what they want to hear. Sometimes being kind means telling someone something that they don't want to hear. But I wish that there will be more love in the world, more emotional intelligence, more good. And we need more people focused on that.
And wallahi, you can't let the hatred of a people cause you to act unjustly, or to advocate or to endorse injustice, or to celebrate injustice.
This situation is tragic and heartbreaking. Moments like this remind us of how fragile life is. I hope this serves as a turning point in humanity towards love, accountability, and change in a positive and healing direction. Thanks for watching.